So Josh Fraser, acting captain. Scotty Burns not with us today. Would have been a milestone for him, and Chris Judd waits for him.
Chris, all the best. We've got Mark doing the toss for us today. Josh, all the best. Mark's going to do it. Okay, Josh, it's your call, away captain, so thanks, Mark. Thanks, boys.
Collingwood win the toss, and they'll go to the punt right end to the left of screen. Gee, Ricky, what a sensational sight it is with these stands filled on what is a big day for both clubs.
Yeah, it's definitely a great atmosphere down here, Bruce. And the two teams are playing for the Peter Mac Cup. The Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre is the only hospital in Australia solely devoted to cancer. Now, Carlton have won it 9 times and Collingwood 6, but they are going for 3 in a row today without their captain, Scotty Burns, who's had a tight calf all week. He had calf problems over the pre-season, also missed round 1. So I'll have to wait till next week before Scotty Burns plays his 250th game.
Thanks, Rick. Richard Pratt, the president of Carlton, said in the presidential lunch today that he wants to know from the AFL whether he's the right man to be leading the Blues. Tell me now, he said. I'm sick of all the innuendo going on.
Wants it clarified. Volatility off the ground. Cloak and Fraser across the circle. Big roar and away we go. Sunday footy. Fraser won it down. O'Brien knocks it forward. Charging in down there, Tooby. Kept it going. Fraser's kick towards half forward, a poor one. Camped in front, Brown. Off to Johnson. Slips it away to O'Brien from the 50. Hangs a long time in the air, so does Cloak. He's taken the mark, 45 metres out.
That's a real surprise move to Nathan Brown's gone forward. Talked about him pre-game, about the jobs he's been doing as a defensive player. Half expect him to play for Favola today. But Favola's O'Brien has actually gone to Favola at that end of the ground.
Kicked 4 goals against the Blues, round 18 last season when he won the best and fairest.
Don't go over the mark.
This requires a good kick. That's not it. Slides across the face, lurking behind the other twin tower, Rocker.
There's a real size difference there because Jared Waite unexpectedly has gone to Rocker, and he will be too big, too strong in a one-on-one contest. So the other Carlton defenders are going to have to come across and help him out.
Around he comes. And what's he done? Hit the post? Yes, the near side post.
So the coach looks on. Oh, well, there's a gift. And Rocker quickly on. It wasn't 15, and Brown, who Tim talked about going forward, gets his first goal in AFL footy.
There's Bryce Gibbs, who generally is a very good kick and a skillful player. Good to see the players there after this era. It wasn't 15, so the umpire actually played. It had to play on. You wonder why Rocker didn't go back and take the kick. The umpire said play and didn't reach the 15-metre line. The other players here, the Carlton players, went straight over to Gibbs and they said, look, don't worry about that. You can lose your confidence very quickly as a kick-in player.
So Brown's goal, and Gibbs given the role to go on Thomas today. So a #1 draft pick on a #2.
What a matchup that is.
Mark Murphy taking #1 in front of Dale Thomas. So he out there too. So there's some great ingredients for what should be a terrific contest. But Collingwood are making the running early. And Thomas, the man in question, arches his back and then goes and gets smothered and has a second crack now. But he's under the pump and he'll be puffing a bit right now. Gibbs keeps his head over, gets pushed in the back. No free kick. Cloak gets swamped.
I think that's a good call there, because you've noticed in the last couple of weeks, players, every time they get tackled, they're actually pushing themselves forward and drawing the free kick. I think the umpire got it right on that occasion.
Watch the hold. Thanks, Rex.
In the forward pocket. Working in front, Fraser. Chris Judd alongside the pack was awarded the free. Advantages paid. Stevens goes to the outer side. Awkward half volley. That'll help him.
Rocker.
Now a chance for Wakeland. Pumps it back in. Cloak in front. Loose ball to the side of the pack. Down there was Bauer. Couldn't pick it up. Rocker a half chance. Trying to soccer it across the line was Cloak. Kicking it against the post was Swan.
Ball hit the post. All clear. Hit the post. All clear.
It was like Clangers the musical.
Early danger signs for Carlton too, because they do drip down back. They've got a poor defensive unit and they're under siege in the early part of this game.
So goal umpires have been in the news a bit with a decision made last night in Adelaide that was wrong, and then that one there they got it just right with the help of the field umpire. Good grab by Jamison.
Good play, this kid.
He was on the rookie list, isn't he? And come off and showing a lot. It's a neat kick to centre wing, and gee, Simpson did well there against Thomas, because Thomas is so good in the contested marks.
Good start for him too. He's been down on his last season's form.
So Gibbs with plenty of time. He's normally careful with the footy, and that one not going all the way. So his first couple of kicks for Gibbs a bit shaky. Fisher cuts it off.
Not vintage stuff at the moment. Fisher goes across the ground. That's better. Scotland has got it. O'Halpin to space, takes the mark low down. That was a beautiful kick.
Well, they brought him into the side just to give Favola a bit of a chop out. He hasn't had a real partner of any significance in the early rounds of the season. He's been doing his job, but they just needed to take some pressure off him. And that's good from O'Halpin. He almost got a kick a couple of moments ago too when he pushed really high up the ground. Wakelin didn't go with him on that occasion. He beat Wakelin off the mark for pace.
Important kick, this one, for him and the Blues. They trail by 8 points early going on this overcast Sunday afternoon in front of a big crowd. O'Halpin looks pretty good off the boot. He likes it. That's better.
Actually, there was an article written about Satanta and his brother Asaki this week by one of the journalists here in Melbourne, just questioning whether or not time was up in terms of the patience there with these two players. But I think Satanta is going to be a player. I think he's shown enough. He's a taller player. They take a bit longer to develop, but he's becoming more and more accomplished. And he's a hard-working player, and he brings a level of energy, as we see there, to this team.
Tim, unusual goalkeeper, because it may be unexpected. O'Halpin could have gone down back. Brown could have gone down back, and they've got the 2 early goals.
That's a good point, Dennis. Bruce.
Dennis will take anything, you know that. Here's Judd. Little give over the top to Hadley. I tell you what, I must be sounding good today if I sound like you, Dennis. The kick inside 50, that's a compliment, thank you. Wakelin working towards the boundary line. It's all yours, Dennis.
We'll have a boundary throw in.
Bruce.
No, thanks, Tim. It was heartfelt and I enjoyed it. Made me sound smart. Cloak is there. Fraser over the top. This ball spills wide. Didak feeds it forward. Fraser back to Didak. Hard against the boundary line. Chip too long for the lead from Brown. Gibbs slides over the football, has a problem, tries to get it out. Brown backhands it. Brilliantly done. Johnson, Didak down the line. Medhurst tracks it, and it goes out of bounds.
Saw Nathan Brown just backhand that ball. Everything he does, he just oozes of somebody that's got real football intelligence. There we go. Not surprised to hear him talk this morning about the fact that he actually set his sights on playing basketball for Australia at Beijing.
That'll have to wait. Throw it in. Wood knocked it down. Lockyer somehow got it out. Reece Shaw ran into a dead end. And the umpire wants it.
He was bumped to ground. No chance. Thanks, Heath. Thanks, Reece.
Just a massive crowd here. We expected it, but could have our first 80,000 plus for the season. Carlton, home game. Kick forward by Wood. Now Bauer under a bit of pressure. Did well to Carazzo. Goes back. Well, Bauer was on hands and knees, and Wade had to punch it over. Just thinking about Chris Judd today. The first 4 games for Carlton, he's played against Essendon and Richmond and Collingwood here at the G. He played in those massive finals for West Coast, some big games over in Perth, but this is probably one of the main reasons he wanted to come over to Victoria, to play in games like this, big crowds.
And he's getting better and better every week too, playing more and more game time. Chris Judd, their #1 clearance player. That's where he's going to really damage Collingwood today if he gets his hands on the ball. Scotland
to wait, so a slow but careful build up here. Here's Cruiser, one of 3 #1 draft picks playing today for Carlton. Carrazzo.
Goes down towards half forward. Intended for Simpson. Maxwell with courage knocked it away, but Simpson will get the free.
He was held in.
Against Stanley.
Completely different game than the one they played last weekend too, Carlton, against Essendon. The tempo of this game, and something that Brett Ratton spoke about during the week, the fact that he didn't think they actually handled that tempo football very well in the latter stages of the quarter. So they've obviously done some work on it during the week.
Magpies by 3 points.
Move it on.
Simpson told to hurry up now. Takes on Stanley. A little chip inside the forward 50, and Fisher coming hard takes the mark. This will test him if he goes for goal.
Nothing to kick to.
No, not much on. O'Halpin is very deep. The kick goes in that direction. O'Halpin won't get to the contest. Almost crumbed it though. Falling to the ground. Clark. Swan got it away. Johnson in trouble. Untidy. Swan backing up though. Nice work. This is Pendlebury. Spots a man in the clear, or thought he was. Johnson back to Swan. Swan pushes the ball up towards the wing. Lockyer improvising in the opposite direction. Thornton coughed it up. Strong tackle by Scotland on Lockyer. Now Thomas is through. 55 metres out. Davis will need to mark. He's outnumbered. Carrazzo. They certainly do have the numbers. Cruiser past him. Kicks towards the wing. Close to the boundary line, intended for Greg out of bounds.
Already we've seen that Carlton have done their homework. Just a bit of an altercation there. Cruiser just getting back on Davis, but they've done their homework. They're slowing the ball from half back. They're putting real pressure on Collingwood's defenders running it out.
So Cruiser against Wood. Murphy has to be accurate. Betts and Clark. Clark's got the job on Betts today.
But when
Both grabbed it, Eddie, you and Marty.
Clark seems to have the job on whoever comes to him at the moment, because Betts and Murphy rotated before, and Betts went into the midfield, so he just picked up Murphy.
Pendlebury.
I'll keep him busy, those two.
To Lockyer. So Lockyer with a measured, well, not 15 apparently, and so Johnson quickly on and kicks to Swan, who just worked Carrazzo brilliantly. Stanley's too slow. Thornton, no, it's going to come back. No advantage, no advantage.
No advantage. Play had to go backwards.
There really was an advantage because they had a number of players camped out here on the fat side then, Carlton. That's good play, good defensive play. They've been able to shut the Magpies down on 3 occasions when they've gone in an attacking mode, and that's a really good sign for Brett Ratton.
Good chase by Gibbs. Carrazzo finds so much of the football deep in his own defensive area here. Had a wonderful season last season, Carrazzo, against Collingwood. 34 possessions and 38 possessions. 4 Brownlow votes. Out of the back pocket, White. This is Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer made it very interesting for Bauer. Didn't need that interest. Didak has got it. Around Pfeiffer. Little chip inside the forward 50. Rocker leads in the race. Jamison closing. Well done, Jamison. Kept going. He sort of tunneled him. In fact, it was White who got him. And on the boundary throw in. Oops-a-daisy. White did very well.
Runner going straight out to Pfeiffer too. Just telling him to take that kick out of his game today.
So Collingwood inside the 50. Wood, Stevens.
Oh.
Where's the foot? Jared White! Give it to Jared White! Jared! Take the free! Let it go! Let it go! Let it go! Walk away! Walk away!
So interesting here. The umpire's just wanting it to go now with a 50-metre penalty to split up the melee.
Yeah.
AFL have got a lot of money out of these two teams in the last 3 years, haven't they?
They have.
Not only with the 80,000 that come, but with the fines they give the players.
He's in real trouble there. Arm went away from the body.
So the heat's just been turned up a notch, you'd think. Lovely give by Stanley to Thomas. So running bounces left, right and centre, and he's got onto that. And the bounce is interesting. Right to Didak. Sensational tackle by Thornton. And I reckon Didak would have been licking his chops there. A one-on-one situation, and Thornton good enough. Judd's kick put Simpson under a bit of pressure, and now Cloak gets it. And we can all take a deep breath for a moment, and Swan can go back and have a shot.
And that's really slack defending there by Carlton. There are enough numbers back there to get on their direct opponents. It was really the kick of Judge from half back that had to stick.
Thanks, Jared.
Probably wasn't a bad kick. I mean, he should have taken the mark, shouldn't he, Simpson?
It was down low, though.
Yeah.
It was a difficult one to take when you're coming full throttle at the ball like that.
So Swan. Collingwood inaccurate early. Making the running, and yet Carlton within 4 points.
Didn't appear to be any report out on the ground. Obviously, that will be viewed.
I guarantee you there'll be a report after that.
This is Jamison out of the back pocket towards the outer side, drifting back. Bannister decides to settle. A buzz around this ground. A real edge to the game now. It's got personal, if it wasn't already, to the wing. O'Halpin gave a contest. Cruiser was taken down. Russell did nicely. The kick goes out wide from Greg. Here's a chance, O'Halpin. O'Halpin, the short one for Bowler. That was good football by the Blues.
Just half the kick.
And that was all about football intelligence then too by Satano O'Halpin. He actually slipped out the back. He realised that Carlton were going to win possession of the ball. His direct opponent lost him, and then he just made himself a spare player. And a good finish then too to Favola, who had plenty of space to operate in.
Lining up his 400th goal right here. 39 of them in the past have come against Collingwood. He kicks from 55. Has it got the carry? I think it may have. Less than a metre, but it doesn't matter. It was over the line.
Satano O'Halpin actually kicked the ball to him. Here's a congestion. There's Cruiser getting control of the ball. Terrific play then by Russell then to win the ball, and smart play over the back there to O'Halpin, who's actually found himself some space. Hits the target here for Vol. That's a good kick. And then the next bit of work he does is here right on the goal line. Just watch this. He just moves Josh Fraser back far enough for the ball to clear the line. Good play.
So a milestone to Favola there, 400 goals, as Dennis said. So he joins Stephen Kernahan, Harry Valance and Alex Jesaulenko as the fourth Carlton player to get 400. Down to you, Ricky.
We saw Sean Grigg have a hand in that goal. He's actually playing as a defensive forward on Heath Shaw. We know how dangerous Heath is coming off halfback. And as Tim talked about, that's where Collingwood set up most of their attacking play.
Shaw's kick to Didak. So Didak on his wrong side, but he is so good and finds Pendlebury. So Judd just able to hold him up there.
Doesn't look like they've got a hard tag on Judd. They're just rotating a number of players through him.
So Clark to Reshaw. Reshaw didn't play a final last year for Collingwood. Big pre-season. Going well.
Massive pre-season apparently. The star on the track over the summer months.
Stanley to Medhurst, but no free kick there, and Bannister doing well. Medhurst getting career high numbers on this ground against Richmond last week, and Bannister goes over the top and looks for Russell.
Hard against the boundary line, feeds it back. There's Juddy's third possession. Back to Russell. Bounces one into Cruiser to Scotland. They've got a feel for it at the moment, the Blues, and Scotland against his old club. Fisher in the square. Brad Fisher, point-blank range. Interesting, the goal-kicking stats on him. 4 goals is best against the Bombers. Round 20 of 07. 12 times he's booted 3. Pops this one through. And Carlton are looking good. They're up by 8 points.
Early signs are terrific there. 3 key marking forwards have all scored goals. O'Halpin, Favola and now Fisher. The really good bit of this play, though, was the work by Russell over on the half-forward line. It happened actually before they centred the ball up, but he had the option of just blazing away into the forward line. He decided to check himself. He went back inside and found Chris Judd, and then they're able to get the ball back to Scotland and send the ball forward. So that was terrific play there by Carlton. They're shutting down Collingwood at one end, and they're opening up their forward line at the other.
Terrific kick by Scotland coming in, and a lovely mark. So Reece Shaw now standing alongside Judd in the centre square.
That seems to be their operation today, just to rotate as many players they possibly can on him, see if they can't get some advantage from that.
So 3 goals in a row to the Blues here. O'Brien, Pendlebury. They're trying to take their time and space, aren't they, Carlton?
Tackle Pinder to him. Thanks, Steve-O.
I mean, that's obvious
Tackle
from
Pinder
that.
straight to you.
But
arms up.
that space they get from half-back is how Collingwood set up so beautifully, and that's what Carlton are trying to squeeze at the moment. Interesting ball there. Davis was against the odds. Betts did pretty well. Scotland, who played in 2 grand finals for Collingwood against Brisbane.
On the ball.
So the advantage given to Didac there, and it was a scrubby old kick. Medhurst's first possession for him. Neat looking kick. Wood, gee, courage from Cruiser, and now Wade can hurt them. Wade over the top to Gibbs. Gibbs has Hadley. Gibbs can go all the way here. Stops and props, uses Hadley, goes back, gets another crack, Gibbs, and does he drill it home? What a goal!
Well, Carlton have been inside. They're attacking 50 on 7 occasions. They've kicked 4 goals, so that gives you an indication of their efficiency. There's where the turnover occurred. Maybe that could have been a free kick to Cameron Wood. Cruiser coming back on top of him, but they're able to get the rebound, and this is their future. This young bloke running through the midfield, he's a good decision maker. I mean, they almost got themselves in trouble here, but because he is such a classy player, he's able to work his way through and finish off.
Fantastic by Gibbs. Make a very good point there, Tim. He got himself into a situation, but he's gifted enough to play himself out of it. If you're barrack for Carlton, that should make you smile. Thornton worried about that matchup on Didac. Play restarts. Now.
Push in the back, Richard Hadley. Push in the back.
O'Brien's hurt himself here too.
Richard Hadley's free kick.
Hadley getting a free. Bit of confusion in the middle. Hadley wants the footy. Brisbane Premiership player Carazzo for Bowler. Awkward half volley. O'Brien pursuing him. Well done, O'Brien. Won that battle. Heading to the boundary line. Heath Shaw runs it out.
Actually, Carazzo missed the kick there. O'Brien okay, up and running again. I think he just got a knee maybe in the stomach. Yeah, right up. It was a bit dangerous there from Stevens, actually.
Off the top rope. Wide of the pack. A chance again for Hadley. Left it behind.
Knock it out.
Battles well, though. Fed it out. Gibbs again. Created time. Got it away to Cruiser. These young guys relishing the challenge at the moment. The ball bounces out of bounds.
I'll tell you what they can do too today, Carlton. I think they've done it. They've loaded up their midfield. We've got Gibbs playing more in the midfield. Murphy going through there. Judd, Stevens, Scotland running off half back. They are loaded with talent, and at the moment they're getting plenty of the ball in the midfield. So
Cloak and Fraser. Murphy eyes only for the footy. He had that hard knock earlier in the match. Kicks the ball inside the 50. A bit scrubby. O'Halpin's been important. Heath Shaw, he was so brilliant here last week.
Knock it out. It's out. It's out.
You can hear the umpire. And now Murphy trying to get it out. So good umpiring there. And getting on the end of it is Cameron Cloak, who sprays it a bit. The ball bouncing. So the first time Cameron has actually played against Collingwood today. He missed the 2 games last year, so brother against brother for the first time here today. Travis, the younger brother, and Cameron now in Carlton. And there's Dad, who we spoke to last Sunday here, David Cloak.
Wide of the pack. This is Swan running out of space. Got it about 15 metres. Scotland was in front, trying to get a kick. The hand pass comes from Shaw. O'Brien in desperate trouble. Down he went. Spills across to Murphy. Murphy, the long kick for Bowler. Takes the mark. For Bowler.
Completed it here.
40 metres out. Just interesting looking at these interchanges. Collingwood 8, Carlton 7. And that's right down for Collingwood. Obviously very conscious about trying to match up correctly. And at the moment they can't do that with the Blues. You think back to last week, those rotations for Collingwood, like watching a spit roast.
That was an outstanding kick there by Murphy into that space.
Pavola.
Stay out on the side.
How good would this be? 5 straight for Carlton. Collingwood 1-4. He's got to kick it yet. It's 24-10. Pavola. Beautiful. It's 30-10.
They just can't bottle it up at the moment, Collingwood. Every time the ball gets into open space, Carlton look dangerous, and that is because they have so much talent that they can actually run through their midfield. And Collingwood's rebound, their #1 rebound player, who's sure there's far too much space there for Vola operating, but he'll beat most defenders when he's got that sort of time to run into the ball. Harry O'Brien's a good player, he's a quick player, but this bloke's exceptional off the mark too.
So 8 goals last week at a losing team, 2 goals in the opening term today. And Carlton have kicked 5 without a miss.
Jump with your eyes on the footy.
So the Blues rolling here. Pendlebury. Johnson's kick to half forward. Davis couldn't quite. Simpson with him, and then Medhurst wrapped up by Gibbs.
That's a mistake. He should have given that then to Thomas. He looked at him. It had to be an instinctive handball, and he would have been away.
50-metre penalty for grabbing him round the head.
I'd expect Mick to take him off now and just have a chat to him.
Gibbs looks terrific, doesn't he?
And remember that he coughed up the first kick in Gibbs, so that says a lot about his temperament. His first kick could have been a half disaster early on, and yet he's playing some sort of a quarter, isn't he? That's deliberate.
Come on, he's an Irishman. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
So Betts from the pocket. It's happening quickly now for Carlton, isn't it?
Yeah.
Suddenly they're putting a space between themselves and Collingwood. And Collingwood dominated the first 10 minutes. It's a good-looking kick. Gee, it's a chance. Better than that. It's a goal.
And Bruce, they're on a roll at the moment. There's no question about that. The difference between last week's performance when they were kicking goals was the opposition was kicking goals too. It was an open game. Now, they're a young side. No doubt in the post-game last week, they actually looked at their defensive pressure when they didn't have the ball. And that's the area they've really tightened up on today. So they are kicking goals because they've got great offensive weapons. But what they've been able to do too is just slow Collingwood's ball movement down all over the ground.
Free kick total. You can see with the Blues. Mick getting a closer look. So far, it's all bad. 6 straight to 1-4. Outside the centre circle. Well and truly, that group. Inside the centre circle. Fraser had it. Lost it. Cloak. Stevens hasn't seen a lot of it. Into the path of Gibbs again. This has been perhaps his best game for the Blues. Fixed him. And the ball will come back. It will be a Collingwood free to be taken by Stanley, who wastes no time. Comes out to Pendlebury. Pendlebury on the wing. The short one to Fraser. Forced very wide, the Magpies.
Don't go forward, Cameron.
Nothing to kick to.
They just need to control the tempo of the game here for 5 minutes, Collingwood, and they are good at doing that.
Maxwell in the famous number 5. Too far out to score. Just sets it up with a bad kick, though it wanders to about 40 metres from goal. Russell gets the bouncing ball. Cloak is at right half back. What a start by the Blues. Looking down the barrel. Embarrassment personified. Fisher under pressure. Thornton gets the kick off. A lack of torque. Well, Murphy did okay. Juggled the mark.
Just need to think their way through this, Carlton. They don't need to cough the ball up. Just set it up, play down the line.
Tim, just a question. When you're out there with a crowd like this, I talked about a lack of torque.
Another 50-metre penalty there, Dennis.
How tough is it to hear?
extremely difficult, extremely difficult. But these guys are so well programmed, and they understand the need to play the tempo football when they get themselves into a circumstance like this. So it's almost like rote learning.
Favola plays on and then loads up and doesn't kick it very well at all. So that's a waste. They got a goal from the last. They got a goal from the last 50-metre penalty. Interestingly, Medhurst left on the ground.
Oh,
well, here's danger.
Straight at him. Free kick. Front on contact.
So against O'Halpin to Lockyer. Squares it to Reece Shaw. Yeah, you reckon Collingwood would just love to hold it right now and maybe get one goal back, and that would do them. And regroup a little. Because at the moment they're under siege. After they had the best of it early. Dane Swan, little kick to half forward. Important ball, Waite.
Oh.
What an athlete he is as he comes out. Not a great kick though. Penderbury to Didak.
That's the trouble. If you miss your target coming off half back, it's coming straight back at you. Look at this.
Magnificent kick. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
Thank you, Travis.
It's a very strange one, isn't it?
50-metre penalty from the place of the mark. You're holding his jumper.
Ah.
Well, there's the explanation. He held, there's Bauer, who's undersized against Cloak, holding his jumper. It was a really poor kick then, too, from Waite off half back. He had to hit the target then.
So it's Alan Didak's footy. Alan.
Okay, so Didak gets it now. That took a few twists and turns, but we've got it with Didak now, right in front, and he gets the goal that Collingwood needed before quarter time.
The lower intestine.
And that's really disappointing because it was caused by the turnover. There's Bauer who gave away the free kick to Cloak, but it was actually caused by the turnover from Jared Waite, who ran off half back. He looked terrific coming off the half back line. He had plenty of time. He wasn't under enormous pressure. And that's the difference between really good sides and just average sides. And they're the areas you need to clean up of your game if you actually want to get into the upper echelon of the AFL. He needed that one too, Didak. Every player just needs to get their hands on the ball and get a goal like that.
The coach down on the boundary. Unflappable. Still setting the standard after all these years. Bit to think about now though. Stevens in trouble. Just laid it off. Carrazzo to no one in particular. Didak again to half forward. Brown. So in the space of 30 seconds, a lot of their early good work, the Blues, could be undone if Brown kicks straight here.
He's good off the mark, isn't he? Got real speed for a big fella.
Yes,
terrific tap there by Cruiser. Just a nice in close to Stevens.
Richard.
Huge kick this one. Brown going at his second. Playing on the forward line today from 50. Good looking kick. What a beauty. It's gone through at goal post height.
Well, apart from the obvious, the thing that impresses you most about this young man is he's playing his 4th game of AFL football. His first 3 weeks he played on Pavlich, he played on Jonathan Brown, he played on Richo, kept him to 4 goals. Those 3 gun forwards. And then Mick says to him during the week, I'm actually going to push you forward this week. Kicks 2 goals in the first quarter. I mean, that is a genuine talent. Every time he goes near the ball, he looks like he's going to do the right thing and does the right thing.
Obviously a quick learner playing on those blokes.
Well, Dennis, you made the point about it being on the best forwards and learning. That is a very good point because they can educate you. I mean, you played on the 3 very best of the forwards in the competition in successive weeks. I mean, he must have learned some tricks.
Pavlich, Brown and Richo. And the most any of them got on him were 2 goals. And that was Brown, and he's got 2 himself in this first quarter. Could Carlton get a late one? Collingwood suddenly getting the momentum before quarter time. But what an opening quarter we've seen. Tuvey comes out of the back. Swan quickly on to Stanley, who came in for Burns.
Second time he's been run down.
And yet again, it's that man, Dennis.
Yes.
That's the difference between VFL football and AFL football. He's been playing the early part of the season, Stanley, in the VFL. Got a lot more time to deliver the ball.
And that man is Gibbs.
What a quarter he's played too.
Well, it's had everything we wanted, hasn't it? That first quarter and a bit more, I reckon.
Terrific.
And Judd's been held to 3 possessions. He hasn't really played a starring role at all, but they haven't needed his contribution that first quarter. They've been so dominant in the midfield.
So it's Carlton at quarter time, 36-22 over Collingwood. What a match we've got here. This is Sunday football.
Like Miss Australia, he likes meeting people.
That is extraordinary, isn't it? He'll be a good politician when he leaves the game. Rick, what about that Carlton huddle?
Had a close look at the Carlton huddle. It was actually Brett Ratton who spent a lot of time with his match-up board trying to get those right. It was actually Mark Riley who addressed the team. He said he was very happy with their pressure early on. It did drop off towards the end. It's something he wants to maintain. Just on Chris Judd, he had 2 very long stints on the interchange bench. Obviously, just want to try and keep fresh legs for him later in the game.
Chris Judd starting with the man he started with, Reece Shaw.
Heath Shaw, who's been averaging almost 30 disposals too, Dennis, has had just 1 in the first quarter, so they've been able to take his rebound away from Collingwood.
Second term of the MCG, not the best of bounces. Cloak goes after it, chases his own ball, lost it eventually. Simpson, socket off the ground by Stevens towards the outer side. Lockyer, first back, goes down towards half forward. Thornton's in front, clears he and his marker, working behind Swan, inside the 50. Dane Swan, the kick not very effective. Waite just hanging back, didn't go with Rocker, and the ball found him. Waite over the top to Jamison, back to Waite. They've got the numbers, but that's not going to help them. Pendlebury kicks a goal. Was it touched? Carazzo claims it was. All clear.
But that's just a defensive mistake. Just look at the bodywork here by Medhurst. Okay, Thornton was in a perfect position to take the ball then, and he just pushed him under the ball. They didn't get a goal from that particular foray forward, but it was just this error. Again, it's Jared Waite, who probably handballed there to a stationary player who shouldn't give him the ball to. He follows up. Carazzo's not even looking at him, and he's made another error. That's the part of his game that really lets him down at the moment, Jared Waite.
So Pendlebury getting the goal. Let's go down to Ricky.
I just had a chance to talk to the emergency umpire. There has been a report on Nick Maxwell after that clash with Mark Murphy that caused that melee in that first quarter.
Thanks, Ricky. So Maxwell reported. Gee, Jared Waite missed the target in the first quarter, and then dreadful handball there, and Collingwood get 2 of their 4 goals.
No, it's not coming out.
He's not really the young player that you would be expecting to make those sorts of errors. I mean, they're terrible errors to make. He's 25 years of age. He's been around a long time. Still unable to really cement a position out there on the ground.
And there's so much to like about the good things he does, isn't there? Cameron Cloak punched it forward, and then O'Brien held up by Hadley. Lockyer, well done Scotland, but Johnson was able to work him underneath, and then Reece Shaw with that customary dash and run, and kicks to Swan at half forward.
Got a good pair of hands, this bloke.
He's been pretty good, Swan, hasn't he? So often is. Centering kick, Rocker, not quite. Waite just held up long enough. Cloak, Thornton to Gibbs, who I think has gone to Didac after playing earlier on Thomas. Good kick in the end. It was a bit dangerous, but Carazzo to Jamison, and then Jamison to Simpson out wide.
10 possessions now for Carazzo. As we said, loves playing against the Magpies. Here's Simpson.
Swan's had 12 already too.
And just drop it over the top. Now he goes for distance around the outer side from behind. Well judged by Cloak. Got there at just the right moment. Just behind the wing.
They have to go slowly down the line here. There's nothing up forward for him to kick to.
Cloak. Well, the man on the mark didn't really go at the ball. That was all very odd. Fisher. And the ball's out of bounds. Pendlebury was almost alongside Cloak when he kicked that. What's this again? It gives him the boundary, then comes at him, and you would think you could almost smother from there. I don't know. Thrown in. Fraser knocked it forward. Hadley did well. Digs it out. Judd. On the wing, Chris Judd. Looks to the middle. Good kick. His disposal was pinpoint last week. Bannister. And that's thinking by the captain. He held on and held on. And as a result, Favola will shoot at goal from 40 metres out, almost directly in front.
This is where he's most dangerous, isn't he, Chris Judd? When he gets the ball in a situation like that, He's a good decision maker. He's got plenty of skill, did exactly the right thing, just shifted the angle of the ball and opened up the other side of the ground for Carlton and Favola.
Going in his third.
20 gone.
And so far this afternoon, all's been well on the planet Fev. His kicking has been terrific. And this one, not quite as good, just falling away right to left to behind.
It's still a big kick that it went through post high there, just outside 50.
There's never any worry about the distance, is there?
He's a magnificent kick. And he's just got Harry O'Brien on the lead on 3 occasions this afternoon.
A good half-time entertainment, Tim. Rocker with the footy in his hand and Fev with the footy in his hand, and long shots for goal. See who could go the longest. Johnson got it from Shaw. His little kick down the line to Heath Shaw. He just slipped at the wrong time. Scotland did well not to get the free kick away. Shaw was clever, but in the end it didn't work. Scotland with a bounce. Now Tuvey running at him, and now Murphy. Favola takes off. Does he get him? He does.
He's quick off the mark.
On the line. Harry here. Brendan.
You can't really stop. You can't stop Favola on the lead. What you have to do is actually be able to apply some pressure to the kicker. On that occasion, Murphy just had far too much time just to set this up.
And this is the bonus of Favola and a Rocker, that they are within range from this distance. They can go all the way. If he times it sweetly, there's no doubt he'll get the journey. It's just whether he can get the accuracy. It's looking good.
Oh.
It's looking really good all the way straight through for a third.
Bruce, it's a really good point you make there, because he can kick around 50. It just increases his hunting ground by another 25, 30 metres from other forwards. I mean, there are forwards that can be accurate from, say, out to 40, 45. But he's really accurate from probably 55, almost to 60 metres can he kick goals from. So, and at that part of the ground just gets wider and wider, which makes it that much more difficult for a defender to stop him.
That man is looking dangerous. His best effort against Collingwood, 6 round 18 last season. And the margin back to 15 points, restored to quarter time when it was 14. Cloak, who's done reasonably well, copped a boot in the face there and must get a free. Advantage will be paid, now it'll come back. That was a good bounce by umpire McBurney. The umpire's having trouble bouncing in the middle. It's going in all directions, which doesn't help Ruckman. Scotland looking for Judd, had it knocked away by O'Brien. Stevens close to the boundary line, it's out.
Gee, they look dangerous, don't they, at the moment, with Judd streaming out of the centre and Stevens streaming out of the centre and Murphy there. Just an early jump there by Fraser.
Lockyer left without the footy. Thomas, Stevens and Hadley locked in there.
Thank you. Thanks, Dale.
So Carlton in attack, getting that goal back. Fraser sort of hacked it forward. Pendlebury has been very good. Swan, yet another disposal for him. He's well into the teens now. Gets it again from O'Brien. And then Swan goes to half forward. Rocker's at the back of it, gets over the back. Brown and Jamison. Brown, the big bear Brown, got hold of Jamison and ripped him down.
He's ferocious too. He's able to play in all phases of the game, Nathan Brown, when they've got the ball, when they haven't got the ball, when the ball's in dispute there, just wraps Jamison up in the tackle. They're happy with that matchup too, because they've pushed him into the goal square.
Well, he shares the same name as Jonathan. I reckon he's got a similar attitude, don't you? Rocker, Didak.
No, side. He brought him down on the side. I was happy with that.
In an article in one of the papers today actually talked about his anger last year as his twin brother played last year and he was injured, he couldn't play, and how that actually made him angry, and it was something that he was thinking about right through his pre-season.
Cloak knocked it down to Waite, who clears the zone, kicking it out towards the wing. O'Halpin too slow. Wakeland will get the free. Well up the ground, 75 metres from goal. His attacking goal.
Back a metre. Thank you. No, that's right. Yours, Marty Eddie there. You
Wanted to change the angle here, Collingwood. It's a very crowded forward line.
Clark to O'Brien.
That's good. That's good.
Across the ground, in trouble. Those boots are causing him a bit of concern. He's sure he slipped again. And the umpire says it was high.
Just came over
And Shaw will get a free. He slipped about 3 times today, and it's hurting in more ways than one. He's copped a few.
Play on!
O'Brien. Nobody behind O'Brien. Look at that. That's up ahead. Behind him, not a soul. As the ball comes out towards the wing, Johnson hooks it back inside the forward 50. Rocker. O'Halpin in from the side. Hadley. Rocker found it on the deck. Heath Shaw, 60 metres out, long down towards full forward. Cloak didn't get to the contest, almost got the footy. Loose ball, and through it goes for a minor score.
That's good play. That's good play under those circumstances too. You get the opportunity now to reload. Not sure about Jared kicking in.
Well, he put the pressure on Scotland.
Back behind it.
But he took that mark.
Yeah, where you are.
It was a big flood a moment ago, wasn't it, Carlton? All getting back. Jard, who uses it so beautifully, to Cloak. I reckon Cloak's gone well so far, don't you, against the old club? He's been good in the ruck.
Very good.
Played the first 6 last year, then did the shoulder. Now to switch up here. Now Waite, who can run with the footy. He's had trouble disposing of it, and that one's really careful to Jamison. So Carlton have done pretty well, I reckon, in the first few minutes of this quarter. Collingwood got that first goal, which was their 3rd in a row, and you felt like they'd quickly be in front, but that's not the case. Thornton running. Now Thomas to go to him. Doesn't quite. Thornton's kick to Betts. Oh, that's a good grab. Goes back inboard.
Oh,
Again, a target missed.
Look at this.
That was Cruiser, I think. And now Shaw's going to hurt them. Medhurst has been quiet. Little kick to half forward. Swan's been nothing but very rowdy in terms of getting the footy. And then that's a beautiful kick over the back to Cloak.
well called, Bruce. That was a magnificent kick. He had a couple of options. He decided to take the longer of the options he had available to him. And this is the error from Russell just coming forward. You just can't afford to miss targets on any part of the ground. If there's one side that's going to make you pay for that more than any other in the competition, will be Collingwood. And they were so organised on their way back.
So was Russell coming through at half forward. So it's cost them, hasn't it? And Cloak kicks his first.
It does cost you. It costs you on any part of the ground, but they had the ball inside their attacking part of the ground. They just missed that. He missed that target by 5 metres. There's Heath Shaw, who was there to mop up, and Medhurst, who then just ran into space, and then they had an open field to operate in. And this is a really good kick here by Dane Swan. Had shorter options, decided to go longer to Cloak, who just slipped in behind the defence, and Bauer was just done as soon as that ball left his boot.
Cruiser, after that goal by Cloak, the margin back to 8 points. 10 scoring shots to 8. But Carlton certainly have hurt themselves on occasion. Cruiser, well done, follows up. He didn't take the ball initially. The umpire let him go. Gets another kick. Came off the hands of Russell. Kicks it down towards the forward pocket. Favola under real pressure. Well played, O'Brien. He almost slipped as well. They hugged the boundary line around the outer side. The hand pass came over the shoulder out there from Stanley. Betts has got it now. Bounces it back to the pocket. This is Clark running out of space, under pressure. The kick not so good. Simpson hard against the line, looks to the middle of Murphy. Murphy's got it right on the 50. Calling for it is Fisher. Will it get there in time? That's a good mark under the circumstances. O'Brien played it as well as you could without infringing. He was watching Fisher all the time. At the last moment got involved. But Fisher is a very good aerialist.
That's good forward line pressure there by Carlton too. It wasn't an easy out for Collingwood. They forced Marty Clark to actually kick the ball long down the line. He couldn't hit his target, and then they were in trouble again.
So Fisher for his second. And he's got it.
When the goal spread's okay, Carlton, as we just see a replay of that, Cruiser just missing the attack, but they had the numbers back here and they thought their way through it well. Simpson hit that first target, that's important. And then Murphy, this was a really intelligent kick. It was always going to be difficult for O'Brien to get back and try and spoil that particular kick. Murphy's been good with, and that's been a pot on his game too, Murphy, is the fact that he hasn't been kicking particularly well, but he's been good in that area today.
So a couple to Fisher. Favola's got 3. We're back to that quarter-time margin of 14 points. 49-35. Goal for goal in the second quarter. Fraser just won the tap. Reece Shaw. Advantage to Nick Stevens. And then Stevens to Favola. O'Brien with him. Clever kick. Grigg. Still with Grigg in the pocket. Left foot, not going to make it. Clark whips it over. Gee, Heathshaw was good. He corralled him, didn't he?
Back on the mark, please.
And Fev was smart there. So Lockyer now, Thomas and Murphy. Well played, Murphy, because Thomas very good overhead. So 2 #1 draft picks, Fraser and Cruiser against each other, just a few years apart. Reece Shaw to the pocket. Brown was the lead. Ball still in play. Swan, who's just been outstanding, brings it back to the hot spot. It is a hot spot too. Stevens should have taken the mark there, I reckon. Had the opportunity because O'Brien was out of position, and now Davis, who hasn't had a kick in the first half, Davis, and the ball up.
Thanks, guys.
This is a terrible ball to be sitting under there by O'Brien, but unfortunately, you just have to go.
Well, he's had it at both ends. I think he's feeling a bit like Britney Spears' attorney, a little uncertain. There's a chance for Lockyer. Got it out. Fraser feeds it back. Reece Shaw with Judd going in on top, and the umpire calls for it.
Well pinned.
You know, it's the one that no one wants to sit under, but it's the one that everybody's going to find themselves under at some stage of their career.
But he had 2 in about 30 seconds. There's Gibbs. Feeds it back. Problem. Rocker's got it. Wheels around the big guy. Hooks it back. Helped on its way again by Bannister. He's racking up scores for Collingwood. 50 plays 36.
Scotland quickly on, but Carlton don't have many numbers now. Fisher probably could have got one there.
Oh, they're lucky, yeah.
Carazzo down the line. Again, an important ball. Tuvey belts it away from Pfeiffer. Carazzo with those big numbers that Dennis talked about against Collingwood last year. And now Bauer. Can they set up Stevens? Stevens kick not good. Now Betts got lucky there. O'Brien and Betts clever. Judd running hard. Ball to be won. In dispute. Betts very good to Grigg. Well tackled though by Davis to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer to go for goal. And Carlton get one that'll lift them. They've broken the sequence goal for goal, and it was hard work.
It was hard work, and Collingwood did it. I thought they did a great job defensively here because it looked like Carlton were going to score before they actually did. He's sure there, and they got the numbers back in the end. There was a tap there by Betts just to release the ball. Grigg just gets the ball into space again. That's all they needed to do. Just keep the ball alive in their forward line. And once they kicked that space, then Pfeiffer had plenty of time to steady.
Darren Pfeiffer. Good work. No easy goal. 56 plays 36. 8.5 minutes out from half-time. Cruiser and Fraser. Cruiser did brilliantly again. Carazzo missed his target. Davis gets back. And the Blues doing this without Stevens and Judd, really. Fraser showing courage with Scotland. Knocks it forward. Carazzo, some indecision there. Charging in Johnson. He was committed. Fraser had it knocked away. Murphy was dragged down. Johnson spears a hand pass out. Thomas has been quiet. Goes from 50 and kicks a goal.
That is just class. Just watch the way he wins this ball. It's a tough one to win. That was a good play there by Ben Johnson. Just comes free here. He goes in once, Okay, still in the play, just able to grab the ball in with one wing, and then he just sized up the goal. He has got great speed too. He's got great poise. Here's the first win there by Johnson. That's smart play. Carlton were applying good pressure, but in the end they just got done by the numbers.
One of those instinctive goals that Thomas is so good with. Fast crowd here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
He's only had 4 touches today, Thomas, so he's been well held.
He's had more running bounces than disposals. But he's kicked an important goal. Davis, who's just had his second kick within a minute, and they're the only 2 kicks he's had for the first half. O'Brien got rid of his man, Judd.
You have to hold on, don't you? Otherwise he's gone.
It's an interesting decision. Judd's kick wide is a good one.
Oh.
Murphy's been very good. Inboard. Pfeiffer buoyed by that goal a couple of minutes ago. It was a hard ball to take, and it did put Grigg under the pump.
Yeah. So put him under the pump then. The ball just had to hit its target. He's only a young player, Pfeiffer. He's got to get better in that area at actually hitting those targets. So
Grigg did well to half volley it, didn't he? And then he had to get rid of it instinctively. Good mark by Clark, and then Clark quickly onto Reshaw, but that's not a good kick. And Carrazzo sweeps it out wide, and the Blues can attack.
Halpin around the outer side. Favola on the move in that direction. He's outnumbered. Third man got the cheese. Wakeland. Down goes Clark, that have been pushed in the back. Halpin battles on for Carlton. Fev, turn around. Fev, the ball's behind you, son. That's very bad. And what have we got? 50? Now 10.
that could have been a free kick, that first one there in the back to Clark.
The play hasn't stopped at that stage, and the ball just trickled out. It was lying behind Fev from what I could see. Clark. Here's Wakeland. Drives it inside the forward 50. Coming back was Cloak. Unable to hang on. Down there was Brown. Forcing a passage. Cloak did well. White lost it. Carrazzo applies a strong tackle. Judd comes through as advantage paid.
He had someone right on you. Throw.
Judge Juddy there. He was making a decision. He
That's
thought
a
he was
great
on his
tackle.
way.
Great tackle there. I mean, that's one area of the game that's really improved, hasn't it? The tackling by players.
And Carrazzo very good at the art too. Judd wanted advantage. It wasn't paid. Stevens now his 8th possession.
So Bannister now from Stevens. Pretty interesting stage here for Carlton, isn't it? This is where Collingwood got hold of it in the first quarter, late in the first term.
They've really pressed them too in the mid part of the ground here. It's going to have, they're going to have to work their way through. He's holding the ball up in the air. That means that they're going to go into tempo down the line.
Tim, it's as much about holding their nerve, Carlton, now, as much as their skill. I know they go hand in hand, but let's see how they play the next 5 minutes.
That's a really good point.
They're 14 points in front, which is what they were at quarter time.
This is where they let themselves down last week against Essendon too, when they had a good lead but they gave it up really quickly, and then they weren't actually able to win their way back into the game.
And that was just before three-quarter time last week, wasn't it? So Johnson's kick to Thomas. He's too far out. Thomas with a hook to the pocket. Oh, Didak got on the end of it. Little give to Rocker. Good tackle, though, coming from Waite. Bannister tries to get it out. Carrazzo, they're trying to get it out. Little give from Grigg. They've done okay. Bauer, they've done very well. And Fisher has to sit and wait. Got it now. Does he use Betts? No, that would have been dangerous.
That's good.
And Grigg gets hold of it.
They're still in their defensive 50, though. They still haven't been able to clear that part of the ground. They've changed the angle. They've got a couple of players out, but Collingwood are working hard defensively to get back and actually man those players up. So they're going to make it difficult for them. Scotland's got free now.
But they've worked it well, and they've given Scotland a chance to maybe run. No, he's going to hold it up.
Judd has had 7 possessions now. A couple of free kicks paid advantage that he actually didn't receive. Carrazzo.
Right there, right on it.
Short of the wing. Stevens. Their other star.
This is good. Fisher's got free.
He's got the footy.
That's it too.
Well, this is what they talked about during the week, Dennis, the fact that they couldn't do this last weekend. So obviously they've concentrated on it during the week, and they're quite happy just to take some of the momentum and sting out of Collingwood.
This is Waite, got it from Thornton.
Anthony on the line.
Bannister. Running hard is Simpson. Now Gibbs gives them an extra number momentarily through the interchange gates. Maxwell has picked him up now. Gibbs just behind the man on the mark, offering a lead. Hadley. Judd. Another precise kick. His kicking has generally been impeccable today. Russell long downwards, full forward then. Clark was up, tried to fist it away. O'Halpin somehow picked the football up, tries to go goalward, slaps it through. Coming through is Stevens. Gibbs thought about a soccer kick. Oh, Stevens! Stevens!
It's like Matty Lloyd laughed. It's freakish. It is freakish.
Well, he's a skillful player. We know that. Stevens. The bit I liked most about that was actually they hit their nerve at the other end of the ground. They actually hit their targets. They waited until something unfolded, and they moved the ball slowly from one end of the ground to the other. But they finally got it in a scoring zone, and then they were able to make something out of absolutely nothing. And that was the class of Stevens that did it.
Well, he's got the biggest grin imaginable. It's the sort of goal that Didak you would have imagined would have kicked today. It was freakish. I reckon they probably hit their targets a dozen times there, Tim. 12 short kicks that made their mark. So that was a big effort. It was Sydney-like, wasn't it? Not Carlton-like. Perhaps they're maturing before our very eyes here today. Scotland to Jamison. Danger. No, that's okay. I reckon a quarter time, most of us would have thought Collingwood would be in front at half-time, even though they were behind. Well, they won't be now. And Carlton are doing this really well. They're frustrating Collingwood. And Collingwood have built their game around discipline, haven't they, over the last few years. That's why they're hard to beat. Well, right now, for the last 2 or 3 minutes, important minutes, Carlton have been doing everything right.
They've now had 26 of the last 27 disposals, Carlton. So they're retaining possession of the ball. They're taking some heat out of the game. And, as we saw a few moments ago, they're actually scoring at the same time.
They're sort of working their way to have one last shot at goal, aren't they? Gibbs running hard.
Gee, that was a good lead. Timed to perfection. Gibbs, 70 metres from goal then. Long downwards, full forward. Terrific mark by Wood. Seawood. Up he went. Oh, lock your soul into trouble under pressure in the square. Did well, kept his head, found Medhurst. Reshaw is breaking. Kick goes in that direction. Simpson will hold him up. Reshaw. Just over a minute remaining. Close to the boundary. O'Brien.
Favola's still in the goal square.
Didak. Didak comes around. One on his left side. Wonderful discipline. Oh, Bannister is stiff. Bannister is stiff. Not so much if he took him high or not, but he showed wonderful discipline not to buy the dummy. He knew Didak wanted his left side, and if he went to his right, that was advantageous to the Blues. Here's Medhurst. 60 metres out.
Oh,
Swan.
that's just too loose.
30 seconds on the clock. Swan to kick at goal.
He was always a kick and a bit out from goal too. They should never have allowed him into that space.
Coming up for his 17th possession. How about that?
That is a grab and a half. He's been a great acquisition for Collingwood too, this young man.
Right behind Swan in our commentary box, and he hooks it. He hooks it way left. Out of bounds on the full. So Carlton looked like leading at the break.
Haven't seen much of them, Tim, but it's got to be one of the best halves of footy they've played. Certainly under Brett Ratton, I would have thought. They might have scored more heavily than this, I'm not sure, but not sure if they've played any better.
I think you made a really good point during that quarter, and that is, maybe they're maturing before our very eyes, and I think they are. I mean, they're going through that whole football education. Chris Judd's been pretty well held, but they haven't really needed an explosive contribution from him because they've had so many other players who've been able to step up to the mark, but they wouldn't have been able to play that tempo football last week. They weren't able to retain possession of the ball like that last week, so maybe that's exactly what we've seen in the first half, the maturity or the coming of this young group of players.
It is their biggest score under Brett Rattler at half-time. It's perfectly poised, this match. 62-42. This is Sunday football.
Meantime, this one very much in the balance. Carlton looking down the barrel of a club record. And a couple of my favourites in the crowd there, Dean Bailey and Chris Connolly, where they'll be in September. Next week they play Carlton.
Looks like an Irish horse trainer, Chris Connolly, doesn't he?
He could do it too, don't worry about that. He'd be a horse whisperer. He would never stop.
Horse shouter.
The horse would say, give me a break. Start of the second half. The bounce. Carlton on top. Judd got a boot to ball, moved it about 10 metres. Scotland. Cloak has been very good. Telling kick. Deep into attack. Peeling off O'Brien. It bounces obligingly to the third. Fairy tale start. He's got his fourth.
That was such a gift then for Vola. Harry O'Brien was in two minds. He jogged off the square. He left Favola alone. He didn't actually attack the ball. Had he attacked the ball, I don't know if we're going to see it on this angle here. He came half-hearted at the ball, as though he wasn't quite sure whether or not he was going to hit the ball hard or not. In the end, the ball just bobbled underneath him, and that left Favola alone. And that is just the start that Carlton would have hoped for in this second half of football.
I agree with you, Tim. He looked half asleep for Vol, and the ball basically ran into his hands, and he's kicked four. And we're back to the big margin in the match. We've had it once before, but we're back to 26 points. Collingwood got it, then back to 8.
I mean, the point about that is if you're going to leave your man like he did, and that's the right thing to do, make it a 2-on-1, you've just got to make sure the ball doesn't go past. Here you go. He wasn't quite sure. Maybe he just misread the flight of the ball in the air.
Fraser and Cloak. Lockyer. Didac. Backward to the centre there. Kick to Medhurst. So the matchups for the Blues have been okay. Jamison doing well there. Carazzo continuing to get good numbers. Back to Thornton. Thornton has used the ball wisely today. Finds Fisher.
That's it, Alan.
He's been the second man in that goal-kicking two-prong attack they've got, isn't he?
And Collingwood have really struggled to find that conduit between half-back and half-forward. Last week, Medhurst was good, Cloak's been good, but they just haven't had a winner that's been presenting themselves.
Jamison, Contest there, Maxwell and Judd. Then Russell goes back to Simpson, to Judd, who takes his time and then centres the ball. O'Halpin was the target, I think. That was a good mark. Taken back there by Stanley.
That was a terrific mark, and that was a wonderful kick there by Judd. Unfortunately, the forward just didn't read what Judd had in his mind.
Pendlebury goes out wide. Reece Shaw against the boundary line. Cloak is the target. Hands to it. He's holding on. I think Bauer will get the free, and now 50.
That's the third 50-metre penalty that Collingwood have given away today, and it's hurt them on each occasion. The other two have resulted in goals. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Carlton can conjure something up here.
That's the initial three. It was put down pretty solidly. So, forward of the wing now, inside the 50, courage from Clark. Knew Favola was on the lead behind him, just stepped into the hole, took the mark, goes short to Cloak.
Maxwell got reported in the first quarter. He hasn't touched the ball since.
Is that right? To the outer side, Johnson kept his feet. Well done. Scotland held him a long time. No free. Pendlebury lays it off. Clark on the overlap towards half forward. Lockyer. Nobody closed him down, and he punishes them.
He's a hard runner, this bloke. Came off half back. Mentioned at half time, Dennis, how he only had the one kick in the first quarter, got 7 in the second quarter. And there's Cloak just giving his brother a bump on the way through. You'd reckon they know each other pretty well, the strengths and the weaknesses.
Now he's Shaw. Speaking of brothers, will take a good kick, but distance shouldn't be a problem. steps inside the 50. Good look at this one, looking to work it back right to left. It doesn't track that way.
I think if we look up at the end of the game and Heath Shaw's had 25 to 30 touches, I think we'll also look at the scoreboard and see that Collingwood have won this game. But if they can maintain and reduce his effectiveness, then Carlton will have a real chance.
So Swan to Reeshaw, not a good kick. Murphy. It's a 25-point ball game and the same number of shots for both sides, 13 apiece. It was a good kick by Murphy coming out of defence. He has been very good today.
Play on! Didn't hold it! Play on!
Hadley. So Swan.
Brown's on.
It was Russell's kick to Hadley. Now Reece Shaw hugging the boundary, wanting Medhurst.
Last week Medhurst was getting that kick, Bruce, against Richmond. Richmond were giving them far too much latitude. Carlton have actually looked at that during the week. They've closed down. There's another free kick there to Carlton. And at this point, Medhurst has had a dirty day. Well covered there by Jamison.
Almost feel that where Medhurst's mind is at the moment is probably where he was about a year ago. I mean, we're all singing his praises and how disciplined and how effective he's been for Collingwood in the final series last year. Here's Judd.
Yes, back on South Beach. There goes the long kick from Judd. Knocked away from Fisher. Not a bad option, though. Here's Maxwell. See, they've slipped and slid around. Now, Turvey's getting a free kick, but Collingwood's footing has been cause for some concern. So Maxwell is denied a possession here.
Yours, go behind your mark when you get it.
So that was an interesting stat that Tim gave us a few moments ago. Maxwell has not had a possession since he was reported for putting down Murphy. Just watch this again. Foot goes from underneath him. Happened to a lot of Collingwood players today. Turvey's got the free then from right half back up towards the wing. Not his best effort, a real floater, but Maxwell had moved on. He put that behind him and half back. Smothered off the boot by Lockyer. Cloak comes through, does well. That's better footy. Stanley, not sure what the man was thinking. Well, he was thinking pretty smartly, sure. Dropped off, then came again. Goes to Pendlebury to Medhurst. Slapped away down there. Live ball just inside the boundary line. Jamison did well early. Pushes a man as he kicks. Affected the kick. So Jamison, good pressure twice. And Waite comes up with a footy.
They're winning little battles at the moment that Collingwood generally win with their smart players. And they are smart players. Pendlebury, Medhurst normally. So this is good signs for Carlton. A long way to go, though.
Those players are actually starting to get a little bit more of the ball, though. All they haven't got at the moment, Collingwood, is a way into their forward line.
Perhaps here, Tim. Swan loads up, kicks to the pocket. Didak, a sandwich between them, and Carazzo takes a lovely mark. And then to Jamison, who's off the rookie list. I think Ackland must be on the long term, and he's done very well. Bauer to Grigg. Some run through here. Scotland with a bounce. To load up to Favola. One-on-one. Well done, O'Brien. Ball still to anyone. Stevens. Look away handball. Hadley loads it up and kicks the goal. This is the big lead of the match.
That's a good finish by Hadley, and he's been their stopper in the early part of this season. Really hasn't had a big job to do today. But the difference here was there were far too many Carlton players who were streaming through the midfield. Collingwood didn't get back well in transition, so they had the numbers, even though O'Brien did a magnificent job there to spoil Favola. He looked done, but then they just had Stevens and other players who were streaming forward. They could share the ball, and Hadley, good finish from him.
Richard Hadley kicked his first AFL goal against Collingwood in his fourth game, the 2003 grand final. Coached by Jeff Marsh in the juniors, a man who knew this ground pretty well as well. Cloak again, won it down. Judd a half chance. Scotland, his pace very important in the last goal. Lays it off. Jamison, telling kick deep. Punched away from behind by Wakeland, and again putting the body in Johnson. This ball 20 metres out from Carlton's attacking goal. Whose boot was that? Maybe Betts. Doesn't matter. Wood diving, got his fingertips to it.
Real danger signs now for Collingwood. I reckon Carlton are a couple of goals away from just about winning this game of football. But Collingwood, as we've known, they've got great recuperative powers. They just can't find their way into their forward line, though.
Shaw wide to Lockyer to Heathshaw, who's continuing to add to those numbers that he had at half-time. He had 1 in the first and then 7 in the second. And again, a good mark, Pfeiffer. He was taken one after Douglas in the draft and in front of Vince with the Crows. So both Douglas and Vince now established players. So he's a bit behind them, but now starting to make a mark. And this is his first season with the Blues.
Look at him streaming here.
Every kick here important. Tuvey did well. Hard bouncing ball. Terrific tackle from Stanley. He's had a couple of good moments in this quarter. Reece Shaw, well, the idea was right. Back to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer's little kick. He's been missing targets a bit. O'Halpin tried to hack it out. Pendlebury back to Heathshaw, who's doing that hard running. But Johnson, now Judd, still with Judd, shrugs one off, gives it all he's got. But not even the Judster could produce that one.
Did you hear the noise of the crowd there rise as soon as Judd got hold of that ball? He just wasn't able to extricate himself that little bit extra.
There's Lockyer. Thomas at his best, Chris Judd, when he's kicking goals. That was slack. Scotland chases. That's a strong tackle on Thomas. Brought him down, but not before he got the hand pass away. There goes the kick deep into attack. Didak was the target. Came from Lockyer, thumped out of bounds by Thornton.
That was good defensive play then by Thornton. And that's what you need is your back six. They've got to work together. They've got to cover for each other. It looked like Didak was going to win that ball, but Thornton just coming out. That's a strong punch.
Boundary throw in. Wood down behind. Swan has been so lively again this afternoon. Simpson did well. Burrowed in, took the footy. All Collingwood on the other side. Cloak.
Eddie, keep coming out. Thanks, buddy. Right out.
Kicked a goal in the second quarter. No goals to Anthony Rocker so far today, so they're big forwards. I know Brown went forward and kicked 2 in the first quarter, but we expected him to be down back. Now Johnson close to the line from Reece Shaw. He is a left footer, so he's in the better pocket now. He's going to improve the angle and kick for goal, and just to the near side. So they haven't been dreadfully inaccurate, Collingwood, but Carlton have been
Hold it there, Alan. Hold
dead
it there.
eyes today. 12-3 to 6-8.
Rocker has been an ineffectual player. He's only had 5 touches, just 1 mark, but I don't really think that they've had the ball supply. They've had no players streaming through the centre of the ground, just picking the Carlton defenders off.
Pfeiffer used it well. This is Russell. Stevens again. His goal in the second term, worth the wait, however you spell it. Kicks inside the 50. Camped over the football. Davis pushed in the back. Must get a free.
Now this is where they've been really good. Carlton, they're going to get away this time, Collingwood, though. Rocker's free.
Kick from Stanley. Thomas, almost a clever one, but exposed the ball to Waite. And Waite runs up to the wing, feeds it back. Murphy, Stevens, Gibbs. Bit of talent there across the ground. The talent list gets longer. Cruiser on the lead. Fisher on the 50. That's vintage Blues.
And that was really a lack of athleticism there for Rocker. He should have got to the contest in the first place. And then his second effort was just non-existent. Waite beating him back to the ball.
Fisher spots Russell.
Go through, son.
Worrying signs now for Collingwood. Had 5 minutes, couldn't put it on the scoreboard. And now Carlton coming back hard.
You don't like to make big predictions, Dennis, but I reckon they are 2 goals away from putting Collingwood away now.
Jordan Russell. Much sought after player. Hasn't really delivered on that talent yet. Slides across the face of behind.
I reckon if Mark Williams is watching right now, Timmy may not agree with you, but you do get that feeling. There are 12 points from maybe doing it, but they haven't got those 2 goals. Didak's kick to half forward. Cloak. That's a terrific transfer of play by Collingwood.
One of the few times we've seen it today.
And now Maxwell's on, but Waite closed brilliantly, and they're the good things that he does, aren't
they? They've worked well together, the defence today. They've really covered for each other.
Thornton, not such a good kick. Thomas sweeps it to Shaw, back to Thomas, and then Thomas with a long bomb to Cloak. One hand couldn't quite. Well done, Thornton again. Bowie, you better kick it. He took a bounce. Gave it to Grigg, and then Grigg's kicked to centre wing. Oh, how been outnumbered here with Wakeland and Heathshaw. Gee, Heathshaw's working. He's having a big third quarter.
Gets it back. In trouble. Got away. Off the ball. Carlton player down. Fairly, says the umpire. Pendlebury lays it off. This is Clark inside the centre circles towards half forward and Didak. What can he conjure here? Right on the 50. Oh, that's terrible. Just sneaks it through for a behind. He wound up, gave it everything. O'Halpin. Did not see Stanley.
Heathshaw there on screens had 9 touches already this quarter. Coming into the game, they just can't find that opening in their forward line again. I mean, Didak's working really hard up the ground, but he's a long way from goal then. He doesn't normally spray kicks like that, though.
That little bit of magic dust that he normally has around his boots, not there at the moment today, is it?
No.
Carlton continuing to do well. Murphy, down to you, Ricky. What have you got for us, mate?
Just on Paul Medhurst, he's had a pretty dirty day, but he just had a very long conversation on the phones with the coach. It'll be interesting to see how he responds to that when he comes back on. He's just warming up now, but he probably needs an extended run in the midfield just to get him back into the game.
Chief Stevens reported here.
You've got the free kick. I've reported him for the forearm.
For the forearm. It was a full moon this week, Dennis. Do you think that's had anything to do with the players this weekend? We've seen Mooney yesterday at Telstra Dome.
Wow.
I'm not sure that's going to go much further.
No.
Hall last night.
It's going to be a long list this week, isn't it?
Maxwell earlier today.
That's right.
That kick, good mark by Medhurst. It was a floating kick. Well,
now that's sometimes the lucky break that you need, don't you, to ignite you. A free kick again. Carlton were actually moving forward. When Stevens gave away that free kick, they had numbers in the midfield and they looked like they were about to enter their forward line. Now a 50-metre penalty brings Medhurst within goal scoring range. He'll certainly kick something here.
Rick just made the point. Long talk with the coach. Comes back on. Coach now thinks he's a genius. Medhurst kicks the goal.
He hasn't had a great day, Paul Medhurst. He's just had 5 touches. That's his first goal. Even then he made it a little bit harder than what he needed to, just running around. I thought that there may have been a touch on this. There's the mark. There's the hanging on. If you're not in the marking duel, you're not allowed to take hold of the jumper like Thornton did on that occasion. And Brett Ratton obviously didn't agree with the umpire's decision there either.
first Collingwood goal for 31 minutes. So Carlton have had a grip on this game for half an hour.
This next 5 minutes is critical for Carlton.
Because they've had a bad break, haven't they? Let's see how they respond and whether Collingwood can jump on them.
Come out.
Pendlebury was clever. Just sort of gave it to Aubrey. And then the kick inside the 50. Medhurst. Important he doesn't go to ground. Jamison's a bit weight-light, isn't he? They are so good on their feet, those two guys down back. Carazzo, Jamison. Carazzo again. Decision-making now becoming important. Fisher the target. Oh, he's good overhead, isn't he?
Where you are.
That's his go.
Brownie, where you are.
Long arms.
Move it on.
So he centres it to Gibbs, who had a wonderful opening quarter.
Right out at the back, Paul. 5 metres. Stay there, Jono, please.
So Murphy with the decision to make here, does he? Which side of the ground does he go? He's come out towards Fisher.
Thank you, Dave. You've got a couple. 2 metres in front.
Betts.
So the kick is to Betts, and he's got it at 65 metres.
Margin 25 points. Blues on top. Betts honours the Favola lead. Didn't get to the footy. Pendlebury hurt in front, taken by Gibbs. High. Judd is camped underneath it. Whoa, upended. I think by his teammate. Play-on's the call. O'Brien, Fraser. Terrible kick coming out, but it's accurate. Best you can say for it. Thomas has got the football. Favola has a trainer to him. That's holding on surely.
Gee, worked his body into the position then beautifully, didn't he? If he wasn't going to mark the ball, he was going to get a free kick. He's had 10 touches. Well, this will be his 10th touch this quarter.
He's a star.
He's a superstar.
Heathshaw from the wing then. Demands that Lockyer come across the ground with the kick. Too much carry on it. Hadley, who's been good. Murphy finds a way through. He's at right half back. kept his head. Bauer's got the footy.
So Grigg kicks to Fisher. Fisher playing up in this quarter a lot, just presenting. That's not a good kick. Heath Shaw was able to get a fingertip to it. Cloak was coming on a hard lead. Cameron Cloak. So Favola a bit wounded here, is he? In that last...
He got tripped and then he almost got a knee. It almost looked like Judd's knee went into his head there. Just watch his eyes are on his knee into the rib cage.
Bit of good horse flesh there running into one another, wasn't it?
Yes.
Judd and Favola.
Hold your breath if you're going for Carlton.
That's going to suit weight too on Rocker when he moves up the ground like that, because it's going to be more about athleticism than anything. If he can get him back more closely to the goal line, he'll be able to use his strength against weight, but not up there.
So we're in a holding pattern, aren't we? Judd again the target. Cruiser at the back. Pendlebury to read it well. Brown. Now Brown wants to sweep the handball. Gets it back to Clark. Clever kick. And here's Shaw again, who's just been phenomenal in this quarter. Wood's on, and now Johnson's on. Rocker wants it hard and high.
Oh.
That is a big, big turnaround.
No doubting that decision.
That was a great kick though too. It was exactly the right spot. It was to the advantage of Rocker.
Bannister has played pretty well back there. Here's Fisher with the footy. 76-51, 5 minutes out from three-quarter time. Look out! Goes back in the Didac direction. That spells danger. In trouble, Bauer over the shoulder. Bannister emerges with it. Runs up to centre half back. Vital time in the game. Gives it away. Lockyer peeled off Stevens. Came to the footy. Took the mark. Well, Medhurst will need to work here. Tracks it towards the wing. Thornton in pursuit. Medhurst did well. Reece Shaw hard against the boundary line. Pulls it back. Didac is there, outmanoeuvred. Bauer did brilliantly.
He was tired then, Didac. I was looking down the field. They had the run, but he couldn't move. He was standing there on his haunches.
So Simpson had time to make a fumble. Gee, a late goal here for Carlton would give them a massive chance to break the drought. Thornton found Murphy. You heard the umpire. Stevens in the heart now of the centre.
Look at Simpson.
Important this kick.
Simpson's
runs
still on
around
his
his
own.
man and then goes to the pocket. Here is Simpson, used his body beautifully and took a juggler and got rid of Brown.
Just held his ground, then went back and marked it.
That was really smart play. Snuck in behind the defence of Collingwood. And Stevens just had to be a clever player, and he actually had to have the skill to execute there. It was a beautiful kick, had depth on it. The only bloke that was going to be in a position to take it was Simpson.
I know we're still a long way out, but this is one of the big kicks in the match. This to give Carlton a really handy break, closing on three-quarter time. They've been able to hold Collingwood in this term. It's a tough kick for a left footer. Never really gave it a chance. Ricky Olorenshaw.
We saw Brendan Favola go down a few minutes ago. He just got a knock to the right calf, but he did push the physio away and say he wants to try and run it out. I just saw him have a bit of a lead, and it didn't seem to hinder him, so he should be okay.
Stanley finds Heath Shaw, who really has sparked up in this term, to the middle. Too tall for Brown. Simpson a chance here. O'Brien's got him. He's surrounded by Collingwood players. Simpson, down goes Wood. This could be a pretty good result. They'll tie it up.
Oh, Stevens has just cannoned into the umpire there. They both went to the ground.
Having one of those afternoons, is he not? Nick Stevens and Nick Maxwell on report. Big week for the tribunal, including Barry Hall. That was remarkable last night. I thought I was watching Bongo in Blazing Saddles when he gave one to the horse. Thomas left it behind. Simpson under pressure. High ball, but effective enough. And they've got the extra man here. Pfeiffer to Stevens. Now O'Halpin, 70 metres out. Holds on for a while, and that was a real nothing kick. It went out of bounds. Just as well.
Poor kick there by O'Halpin, and the decision making was wrong. Just came off the interchange. Stevens, don't know if he injured himself when he cannoned into the umpire. He's just taken himself off the ground too. Carazzo replacing him.
Helping the third man up. Betts slams into Hadley's own man, and O'Brien then sort of hacks it out to Swan, whose kick only as far as Carazzo. So a goal either way here in the last couple of minutes vital.
Fine there, Reece, there, hold it there.
Tim, decision-making imperative here, isn't it?
And that's what we don't know about this young Carlton side. Are they up to it? Can they keep their composure?
Thornton's of Scotland. Now he's just a squeezy kick to Judd. Wasn't
right
15. Judd gives it what he's got right to the square. Favola doesn't go at all. It's completely lost concentration for Favola in this quarter. I know he kicked the first goal.
Here's where the umpire collides with Stevens. Oh,
Not
now
Stevens'
the umpire should
fault.
be on report for that.
He should.
Gee, Mickey Malthouse, he knows he's got an extra man out there.
Yeah.
You'd have to question the umpire's peripheral vision there, Dennis.
Never question anything about umpires, Tim. I think Febb's in a sulk slump at the moment.
Yeah.
I think this game's in a holding pattern too.
Jono has stopped. Eventually drives it up towards the wing. A couple of interesting leaps there. I think somebody stood on Rocker's foot.
But he kicked to a 1-on-3 too.
Pardon?
He kicked to a 1-on-3 too.
Wait.
He kicked to 32 of them.
Here's Simpson. We know what that means, Smarty. Yes. Surely there's got to be another signal, Tim. I mean, everyone in the league has got the same signal.
Well,
what about putting the ball between your knees or something?
Do we know it means the same thing though, Dennis?
Appears to.
Rocker's come off the ground. He limped off the ground. Injured himself in that last marking contest.
Scotland's got it deep in his own defensive area. Clock is down to 20 seconds. Simpson. Well measured kick. Simpson sparked up two in the last 10 minutes or so. Here's Wade.
Let him run.
And the siren is coming. So Carlton will feel the pressure, no doubt. Will they feel the relief later? Remains to be seen. Half an hour remains in this one. Michael Malthouse with some work to do. It's the Blues on top by 27. 12-6 to 7-9. This is Sunday football. So the Magpies looking down the barrel here. These are the sort of losses that can kill you when you pencil in and suddenly you slump to 2-2. Their form has been terrific, but a real challenge now. And the biggest Carlton lead at three-quarter time under Brett Ratton, 6 points against Collingwood round 18 last season. Needless to say, they lost. They're up by 27 here. Rucks go at it. One down by Cloak. Didak only as far as Gibbs. Staying off the pack, Stevens. Inside this centre square. Goes for distance. Favola gets a free kick. And the final term will start as the third bid.
He held him with his arm. You put your arms around him and grabbed him.
He grabbed my arm then. He was the one that locked in.
I paid what.
That is terrible.
We'll be the judge of that, Harry.
Well,
I think Harry's got a point, actually. Oh, no.
no. I think Harry might have grabbed him first.
Yes.
That must be the most difficult position to find yourself in as a defender, though, coming out of the goal square against someone like Favola with Stevens streaming out of the centre.
Got to say that umpire Jeffrey's got a nice mark side manner, though. Discussed it like two humans. There's Favola. How's that for a start? Collingwood in desperate strife now.
I think one of the major concerns coming into this game for Mick Malthouse would have been the power of the midfield for Carlton, and they actually made a change during the week. They brought another midfield player in, and I also think one of the reasons why they've kept their interchange so low, only 60 to three-quarter time, is I don't think he's wanted too much separation. I think that he has been concerned, Mick, that if he loses touches with those midfielders by rotating too often, then they'll do more damage.
So Favola's kicked a goal in the first quarter in each of the quarters of this second half, third and fourth. You can see he's not 100%. Stevens 4 clearances now and 18 disposals. He's really starting to build a number here.
This is critical, this centre bounce clearance. Oh,
So Wood was able to belt it away after a poor bounce, and that's not a good handball coming to Gibbs, but really put the pressure on him. And Collingwood here, that handball from Pfeiffer. Didak short to Medhurst. There are a couple of players that Collingwood need to kick goals, you think, of this last quarter. Fraser's gone forward, and here's a goal to Swan. So they get it back.
he's hurt himself, Fraser.
Oh.
All he had to do was provide the contest there.
That's right in the ribs, Tim.
Was it in the ribs, was it,
Oh,
Dennis? I
right
didn't see
in the
exactly
ribs.
where he felt the contact, but just going back to that centre bounce, and he's in a lot of pain. Don't you think the umpire should recall that? I mean, if that's that bad, then that should have been rebounced there, because they were completely disadvantaged in the Carlton players.
They've been doing it all day, the umps. Not all of them, but a couple of them having real trouble bouncing it. And they're going every which way. Well, full credit to him, he's on his feet. Watch this, he works around and then, well, maybe not the ribs as
I think it
said.
got him in the head there, Dennis. It's
Well, I won't charge you for the consultation.
here they go again.
Reece Shaw out of the middle. Collingwood need another one. Can they get it? Off hands. Slick hand pass comes across from Brown to Davis. 2 in a row. 2 in the space of 30 seconds.
It's amazing, isn't it, modern day football? You can spend 3/4 of the game trying to set up the perfect goal, kicking to players leading up the ground, trying to create space, and then you just simplify it. You win the ball out of the centre. You kick to a contest. You get a contest here. The ball gets smashed back down. You get a crumb. Brown, really quick hands, and then Davis finishes it off. Now the doubts start to grow in the minds of the Carlton players.
Didak and Meadows, we talked about having to get goals. Davis, another. 1 goal in 43 minutes, Collingwood. 2 goals in the last minute. So Carlton need to keep attacking here and hold their nerve. They're not home by a long stretch. 33 points suddenly has become 21. Stevens' handball. Judd was terrific then. Can he lift and have a huge last quarter? O'Halpin versus Wakeland. And then Johnson sort of overran it. Pfeiffer, well done. Judd couldn't quite break it. Gets it out though. Little kick coming from Russell. And a boundary throw in the right forward pocket.
He went to receive here. Here's the handball. This is the one that actually cleared. And there's a terrific tap there by Simpson. Over to Judd. And he's the bloke that you do want to have the ball in the hands of.
Boundary throw in. Cloak works in front. Wood hooks it down behind. In goes Betts. Wood opposed to him. Judd's over the ball. Betts came again. Got it out. The kick from Grigg goes very high down towards full forward. Opportunity for Carlton. Socket off the ground. O'Halpin. And he narrowly missed.
Well, they learned, Carlton, in the second quarter they allowed that ball just to bobble around, and Stevens actually kicked the miraculous goal off the carpet. On that occasion they just decided to get it through over the line, reset themselves, and now they're away.
That's the problem for the Magpies. Had that gone through, there's no margin for error now. The kick comes up towards the wing from O'Brien. Simpson, the longer it's gone the better he's got. Thornton. Bannister liked his game, steps out of bounds. The former Bomber. I suppose if you were coaching or barracking for Collingwood, you'd look no further than last night's game in Adelaide. Brisbane and Port, anything seems possible after that. Wood decisively to the back of the pack. Just waiting was Gibbs, who started so well.
Simpson.
Bannister to Simpson. Judd is cruising past it. He wants it. He demanded it. Goes wider still. In trouble, Grigg, or is it Bauer? It's Grigg who kicks the full forward, and the mark is taken down there by Favola in the bright sunshine.
And that's why Judd is such a brilliant and damaging player. The spread then from the stoppage on the wing just meant that they had an extra player as they were running the ball through the central part of the ground. Simpson got the first one. That's a strong pair of hands shown there by Favola.
In round 18 last season, he booted 6 against the Magpies. This could be back-to-back 6-goal hauls. And what better time? Fev comes in, kicks it. Carlton start to celebrate. It's been a while.
Oh, they'd love to beat the old enemy too, wouldn't they? Carlton, to break this drought that they've had and for it to be against Collingwood. Here's the spread. Judd's at this centre bounce. See him in the foreground here. The ball goes to Simpson. He receives the ball, so he's got away from the clearance. Shaw was on him at that stage. He's actually come off the ground since then too. And now O'Brien will go on to Judd. But it just gave him that extra player. And Favola just picked up the fly of the ball a lot quicker than Harry O'Brien. And forwards do that.
6 goals. Could be a match-winning effort, couldn't it? Judd, important here. He's been getting his hands on it. 91 to 63. 5 of this Carlton team have not played in a winning game. And 7 haven't played in a winning game for Carlton. We don't want to go the early crow because Collingwood with the footy in their hands, and it's with Didac to fall forward. Brown almost. Davis gets his second. Tim, you almost feel Carlton have got a problem. Do they try and slow the scoring down, or they just try and go goal for goal? It's a big decision to be made now, isn't it?
I tell you what they need to do. They need to get their best players in this next centre bounce. And we're seeing Cruiser come onto the ground. We've got Murphy in there now, because where Collingwood are doing the damage is the centre bounce breaks. They've scored 3 of their goals because they've taken the ball out there quickly into their forward line. And Davis just lighting up the MCG as he's done so many times.
So the Magpies, 4 disposals inside 50 in this term for 3 goals. And that man has called up the cavalry. Cruiser and Murphy inside the centre square now, along with Hadley and Judd. Cruiser goes up, beaten by Fraser, came back to him. Judd's got it, stood up in the tackle, characteristically. Getting back, Didac gave it away. Russell anticipating towards full forward. Harry will get a free this time.
That was a really good bit of play there by O'Brien. The actual kick from Russell wasn't terrific though, because it didn't go out into the space in front of Favola. He had to actually double back again.
When you're playing full back, you can't go 1 for 1. That's the problem. He's -6 at the moment, Harry. There's Medhurst on the lead. Swan bumped as he approached the ball. Bannister has done well back there. A cool head. Swan comes off. Boundary throw in. Cruiser and Fraser. Fraser won it. Lockyer. Pendlebury. Sluggish, but the hand pass was good. Didac inside the forward 50. Stretching was Brown. Lurking is Wood. Brown slips over. Another Magpie to go to the ground.
Gone.
Very lucky there. Thornton can't believe it.
Into his body.
Right decision.
Cruiser up very impressively, and then roves his own ball.
Control of it. Just lost control of it.
And now has to run back and contest the boundary throw-in against Fraser. So Fraser and Cruiser. Cruiser's second effort good. Judd becoming very important. When hasn't he been? That one just, Fisher couldn't quite get hold of it. And now Maxwell is on report today. Gee, I reckon Didac might have got that. Scotland.
Fisher.
Strange old kick coming from Bauer. Fisher versus Maxwell. Maxwell wins it to Tuvey, to Wakeland. He'll sweep it to Heathshaw, who had the big third quarter.
Lockyer.
And then Heathshaw down the line finds Lockyer.
Lockyer wasting no time, plays on, looks inside the forward 50 and heads for home. Long bomb, Cloak. Plenty of Carlton players on the deck. Comes to O'Brien, stolen though by Hadley. Liked his game this afternoon. Scotland through midfield.
Look at this.
He's running at the heart of the opposition, sets it up. Fev losing contact. O'Brien. Fev's taken the mark, and we would venture to say within range. Fev directly in front.
Should have done this well, the Carlton forwards. They've just made sure that they've moved away from Harry O'Brien and that matchup with Favola. So most of the time, Harry O'Brien has had nobody coming in from the side to actually giving him a chop out. It's been one-on-one with Favola, and he's won so many of those contests.
Chris Judd just off the ground, looking pretty tired too. Hadley comes with him. Stevens is on. O'Halpin is on. Favola. How about that? gives it plenty. Distance wasn't a problem, but he hung it out to the right. 92 plays 69.
It's a good lead. It's not a match-winning lead right now, is it?
No.
They kicked 2 goals in about a minute at the start of this quarter, so they're only 23 points up. I mean, they've got plenty of time, Collingwood.
Pendlebury to O'Brien. Now Shaw running hard, and then a probing kick to Medhurst, who did that so well because he went early and then quickly on. Davis will lurk here. Wood, not quite. Well done. Thornton to Bauer, to Carazzo, to Bauer again. An important kick. Is a good one to Fisher, who's played a lot of this second half up the ground on the wing, presenting, hasn't he?
He's been a real target for them. They just need to think their way through this again, Carlton.
Done it pretty well so far, Tim. To Pfeiffer. And then Pfeiffer quickly to Simpson. Has it got the accuracy? No, but
that's the problem. That's not a good kick. I mean, they just needed to retain possession again. Just wait for something to unfold.
Can sense it slipping away. 92-69. Ample time. This is about when Brisbane started their run last night. Cruiser knocks it down. Well done, O'Brien. That's an untidy kick. A tired kick from Heathshaw. Going back, Stevens takes the mark. Stevens, 80 metres from goal. Taking plenty of time. Play on's the call. Had a collision with the ump. He's on report. Eventful day. A collision with the ump won't cause him any problems, we wouldn't think. Didak has the ball on the wing, pulls it back towards the middle, wide of Medhurst. Despairing lunge, Jamison. Run down with Shaw. Great chase, Cruiser. The young man, the big man, worked him back, but Davis towards full forward, chopped off there by Waite, scrambles it out, untidy but effective. Eventually it sets up for Russell. Pfeiffer, bit lucky.
That was a silly play there by Maxwell. He just had to show some poise and composure and just wait until he grabbed hold of the ball and then tackled him. When they just cannoned into the back of him, that's ridiculous.
He's on report too. There's Pfeiffer, left half back.
So he kicks to centre wing. Judd, who's come back off the bench, but Pendlebury terrific to Stanley and O'Brien, and now Fraser. Collingwood trying to set something up here. Poor kick.
Really poor kick.
He had both Medhurst and Cloak short, and we went over the back, so he just got his orientation all wrong. Thornton has been very good. They have been so good in the back half today. That's not 15. Gibbs. Back to Gibbs. A cool head required now. Decides to go long. Collingwood have got the numbers. O'Brien belts it away. Heathshaw to Didak. Good kick. Swan outside his range. Clark loads up. High, long, and very, very handsome.
That is a terrific finish. At the other end of the ground, they've made the move now, Collingwood. They've decided to take O'Brien off the bowler. So they've taken Nathan Brown from the forward line and pushed him back into defence. Clark's outside 50 there when he kicked that ball. Off 2 steps. Generated enormous power through the ball. You see the tension now on Ratton's face. Will the players tighten up though?
Clark got the goal. Wonderful by Heathshaw on the outer side. And Collingwood in that exchange looking as urgent as they've done all day.
Rocker
this is going to be a big finish.
Sorry, Dennis. Rocker back on the ground at full forward.
Margin 17 points. Fraser taps it down. Murphy somehow got free. Important play this one. Inside the forward 50. Favola leads back in the race. Deep in the pocket. His man is on the ground. Lines up. Kicks his 7th or 6th rather. Get excited.
He is brilliant when he's on song. There is just watch this again. They're winning the ball out of the centre here, Murphy. Just being able to win the ball. So they've got the ball going forward here. Kick to the space. Brown's just overplayed it here. Just couldn't keep up with Favola. Loses in there, and that's all he needs. Just enough time to spin himself around.
He's kicked 3 in the last quarter. He's got 7 against Collingwood. That's his best effort against the Pies. He got 8 last week. He's kicked 15 at the MCG in the last 2 weekends.
He loves the space at the MCG. I know the Carlton fans love it too.
Is that...
Still plenty of time though, Bruce.
Is that the one, Tim?
They'd like another one.
Stevens, Murphy. It's been a wonderful game. Carlton have been resilient today. Collingwood throwing everything at them. Scotland, who played in 2 grand finals for the Maggies. Boy, wouldn't he love a win. Judd. It's only the second time, as we told you, that he's played against Collingwood at the MCG. Kick by Jamison to half forward. Oh, they have been good in the air all day, haven't they? And that Simpson, that was a beauty. And then quickly on, he's got the man of the moment.
I reckon last week, though, Carlton would have tried to force. When Jamison had that kick, Carlton might have tried to force something through the midfield and cough the ball up. They kicked the ball down the line to Simpson. He took the grab. And then that space that Favola's found in the forward line opened up again.
8 last Saturday night. Can he make it 8 on a Sunday afternoon? It's coming back. Not quite. Gee, Wakeland. Fisher was quick, wasn't he? He was almost ready for it.
He stabbed through that kick then, though, Favola. He's been kicking through the ball all afternoon. On that one, he just tried to guide it through the sticks.
Remember, the Carlton 14 consecutive defeats. They lose today. It'll be the worst run they've ever had. You've got to go back to 1902 and 03. And it is Collingwood they're playing.
Clark, O'Brien, back to Clark. Pushes up to midfield. Across the ground, Stanley. Tracks it back. He's at right half back. Kicks beyond the wing. Not a good kick. Medhurst lost his bearings momentarily. Still leads in the race. Side foots it inside the forward 50. Judd the fumble. On one needed pretty well. Got it back to support. Forced forward once more. Bannister was the man who gave it to Murphy towards the wing. Charging in Stanley. O'Halpin's got him. He feeds it out, but Carlton swamping the pack. Murphy again. Favola battling with O'Brien. Favola being held. No free. Charging through Heathshaw. Favola lunges at O'Brien. Heatshaw's in there. Favola emerges with it, fitting in many ways. The kick bounces through from Grigg. Grigg has kicked the goal that might get them over the hump.
Now that's every bit as good as any goal that Brendan Favola has kicked today. The work that he did then, they looked like they were going to lose it. But look at that tackle there on O'Brien, who's gone back to pick him up. Won the ball again. The handball over the top to the favoured side, and the dribble pass through. That's just magnificent play there by Favola.
So Grigg's goal. Dick Pratt, the president, who made a statement today about being in charge of the club, putting it back on the AFL. Grigg's first goal for the Blues ever. They've actually increased their margin from three-quarter time.
Judd's been good in this last quarter too.
Lockyer held up by Stevens. Judd bashing and crashing. Pendlebury. So all good signs for Carlton's future here today, I reckon.
Look at the blokes around the ball. Judd, Murphy, Stevens.
Cloak, Pendlebury getting a lot of it in the last quarter. Wood off one step. Carazzo's been very, very good. So's the bloke on him in Swan. Swept by Bauer to Scotland. Scotland's probing kick again. Fisher takes the mark at centre wing. Grigg just coming off his first career goal. Favola's kicked more than 400 of them. He made that milestone today. And now Lockyer twists and turns and kicks it back to Cloak. Fisher was just terrific there to put on a contest. Cloak's kick, Thornton cuts it off.
This back line's been terrific today. Talked about him pre-game about the fact that they dripped more than any back line in the competition, but they've really solidified today.
Do you know, Tim, I reckon they've read the play really cleverly today, that back half. They've got to the right spot. They've been able to cut off so many kicks coming in.
Thornton finds Judd coming up for his 22nd possession. They came out of nowhere. He has lifted in the second half. Bannister
had 10 this quarter, Dennis. Chris Judd.
Fantastic, but not surprising. Bauer. Nice kick to space. He has been good.
He's been better today. His first 3 games of the year, he was down on his performance of last year, Simpson, but he's really found his form today.
So Collingwood have got to come to them here. Bauer. Favola's got 7 goals. They've had many heroes. Bauer around the boundary. Drives it to the outer side. Judd so hard to move in that situation. Ball at the back though. Collingwood win it. Shaw. High ball. They'll compete right on the 50. Oh, clever mark. Guess who? It's Shaw. He's a long kick, but he's a tired man. Rocco wants it in the square.
Started slowly. This will be his 26th touch.
Heath Shaw just sets it up then with the run. Thomas in from the side. Hadley.
He has been good, Dennis, hasn't he, Hadley? His weight, a couple of first half mistakes, Wade, but he's done some very good things. Simpson again. Thought Cloak was terrific in that first half. Favola's on a lead. It's not a bad kick, actually. They just needed someone to run onto it, didn't he? Lockyer was the one to get back to O'Brien. Well, they've got to roll the dice here, Collingwood. They've got to just take chance after chance here. Maxwell starting from here. Maxwell goes long to Rocker. Is it too long?
He had the right idea then, but I mean, Rocker really should have been pointing to the goal square. He's in behind the defence. All he needed to do was kick that ball to the top of the square. He was going to be on a difficult angle even if he was able to mark the ball.
Well, wait.
At no stage today has Mick Malthouse decided that Harry O'Brien's needed a bit of a chop out. I mean, they haven't dropped the player behind the ball. He has been so exposed today on Brendan Favola. At that end of the ground now, they are the only 2 players in Carlton's half.
I feel like every time they go inside 50 here, Collingwood, they've got to get a goal from this point on.
I think they're home, Bruce. Sign of confidence. Richard Pratt has sent Greg Swan up to buy the scoreboard. They're taking it back to Carlton. There's White. Goes for distance outside the 50. Hadley from behind almost. Well, he didn't get hands to it, as it turns out, because the mark was paid to Fisher, his teammate. High ball towards the wing. How will it bounce? Well enough for Betts. Made something out of nothing. Simpson, look at that vacant forward line. He runs inside the 50. Only 2 men ahead. They're not required. Game is over. Carlton have ended the drought.
And Eddie Betts, good handball. You wouldn't really want to be playing Carlton next week either. I mean, once they've got this confidence, it can carry you forward. I mean, they've been looking for this victory for so long. There's Simpson. We mentioned before what a good player he's been today. Favola just running back to the goal square. But look how open that Carlton forward line is again. Anytime they've been able to break away, there's been so much space.
They are home now. I reckon the coach knows it as well. He's going to get his first win. He wore the Guernsey with pride, didn't he? He was a great competitor on the field. So Rhys Shaw kicks to Rocker. Not quite. It hasn't been Anthony's day. Shooting weight. When he does things well, he's breathtaking. What a huge last quarter from the captain. As Judd kicks just beyond Fisher. Heath Shaw, again, a terrific game. 26 disposals since quarter time. Now Reece Shaw gets it from Pendlebury to Johnson, and then Johnson to a one-on-one. Rocker's got this one.
High.
That is just his second mark for the afternoon.
Right in front, Anthony.
They've actually beaten them inside 52. They've taken the ball inside 52 times to Carlton's 47. Carlton have just been so much more efficient when they've had the ball there. Carlton have been getting back in numbers for Collingwood's defence. They've been terrific with their spoiling.
Just don't feel like Rocker's been in a whole lot of contests today. Has he got it? I think so. Squeezed at home.
Well, they have what you would say is a star-studded forward line, Collingwood. Cloke at centre-half forward. Rocker, they started with Nathan Brown down there. They had Medhurst, who'd been in terrific form. Didak. At different times, they've had Dane Swan, Thomas, also Pendlebury going through there, Leon Davis. But this Carlton defence has stood up under enormous pressure today. Jamieson is going to be a good player.
Just over 3 minutes to go. Well, this stands for naught. And that is the biggest crowd of the season to date. 77,873. Bruce, Tim and myself just tacked on the end there. Whoa.
High. Arm the face.
Fraser gets a free kick.
Arm went into his face. Accidental maybe, but high.
Fraser
Mine, mate, mine.
kicks it towards the 50. Cloak, that's a strong grab. He's marked about 55 metres out.
Thanks.
Sends it long downwards, full forward. Rocker in from the side. Thomas, where he took one last week, or was it the other end? I think it was the other end. Doesn't matter. Goes in, gets the goal, but too little, too late.
No, it would have been a free kick if he missed. Okay. Yeah, no, look, Dale. No, it's not. It's not. It's just as he kicked the goal. No, no. No, if he misses, he gets another one. That's how it works.
Okay, the umpire just explained that there was a little bit of attention to Thomas after he kicked that ball. He landed like a snowflake on a hot bonnet then, didn't he? How soft was the landing here, and then just straight away to a goal. That's the talent he does have.
He's unique, isn't he?
He is unique.
His only problem, he makes it look too easy.
And he
It's a spectacular mark.
he does, and at this stage he doesn't get a lot of ball. Like, whatever he does is spectacular, but he just doesn't get probably enough of it.
So for the second time in this last quarter, Collingwood kick a couple of goals in about a minute. But they're going to run out of time, and Carlton is going to score a famous victory. Halpin bangs to full forward. O'Brien got a shove. Did well that time, but Fed's got 7 big ones. Lockyer up and under. Collingwood still trying their hardest, and Cameron Cloke's had, I reckon, just about the most satisfying day in his career. First game against Collingwood, the old club, against his brother, and he's going to be on a winning team. Nick Stevens.
What do you think that means, Dennis?
Not sure, Tim.
What's one of your theories?
I think, well, today it means we've got the 4 points.
I've got to go back and review tape, see what's common to all of those.
On there, Anthony, that's it.
I'll save your job, Dennis.
What's it mean?
Oh, just don't worry. Waits kick, jarred. There's a blue going on with Reece Shaw and nothing much in it, and also Hadley.
How about his last quarter?
They picked the right captain, didn't they?
Yep.
Leon, back 2 metres towards me.
And Tim, I just wonder, going back to a comment you made a minute ago, as Waits got it at half-back, the drought broken today, you feel it might be the beginning of a big wave, don't you, for Carlton? They could really go on here.
Well, I mean, there's some serious talent out there on the ground.
Oh, that's a good one.
No one's more talented than this bloke either. He looks like he's about
He
just
was in the contest.
almost cramped
Let him
in the
go.
last contest he had.
Stay there.
Gee, that was a
He
battle.
works hard, though. He works hard from siren to siren, Chris Judd.
It was a battle of high draft picks. You had Murphy, Didak and Judd. 1, 3 and 3. A bit up and under Judd, that one.
His 13th possession of the term. He's pretty tired. Fraser, Swan. And this ball's out of bounds on the full. Interesting, they made Judd A team concern in the first half. In fact, for the first 3 quarters, he was tagged by several players. There's the press of Collingwood. And that look says it all. It could stop a clock.
I wonder if this loss cuts deeper than any other loss against the traditional rival Carlton.
They've just lacked any sort of urgency today, any energy, Collingwood.
And they had the chance, Dennis, to put Carlton into the record book for all the wrong reasons, didn't they?
I reckon you're taking a lot away by Collingwood from Carlton by saying that, though, because they came here with a game plan. They've been able to shut down the run from half back of Collingwood. They've taken away most of their playmakers.
It's a famous victory. So their first win since round 11 last year. 14 consecutive defeats. So it's been a huge day, and here's one of the heroes, Chris Judd, the captain, with Ricky Olorenshaw.
Mate, what a great way to break that losing drought.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've been working really hard, and obviously haven't been happy with the first 3 rounds, but to come out and play like we did today is just fantastic.
It's such a big stage as well, nearly 80,000 people, and some of your young players haven't been playing in a winning lineup yet.
Yeah, exactly, and they really stood up today. I think some of the young blokes, obviously Fev was just magnificent. To the fans who keep coming to supporting us, we really appreciate it.
And yourself, mate, you had a big last quarter. Obviously that body's starting to come together.
Yeah, it's starting to come together. It's just great to have a win.
You know the theme song?
Oh, I'm getting close. All
right, good luck with that.
He had so many players rotating off him, didn't he?
Yeah.
You pointed it out to him in the first half.
He ran him into the ground in the end, though, Bruce. He is a magnificent player, and he's a great leader too. I mean, he's the only guy that they could have actually named captain this year, as we see their proud president too, Dick Pratt.
Let's go down to Ricky. There's Ricky's right in the middle of this with the president and the would-be president, I think, Fev today.
Yeah, the boys are pretty excited down here. Fev, what a great win.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. All the critics have put us up against the wall, talking about club losses and history, and we had a good feeling about today. We trained pretty well, and in the room there was a bit of a buzz, and we love playing in front of a big crowd against Collingwood, and to beat our arch rivals is amazing.
And Dick, it's been a really tough year or so for you guys, but you must have been really proud of the boys today.
Terrific. They did terrifically well. Fev is a wonderful footballer.
It wasn't just the goals he kicked, but what about that second and third effort he made that last quarter?
Terrific.
Celebrate tonight?
Yeah. Well, after all the commiserations, it's good to have a celebration.
And just at the lunch today, you mentioned about the AFL trying to back you up. You said that in the President's lunch.
What, they wanted me to resign? Well, I'm not going to resign.
You know, well, when they're playing like that, you want to stay with them, don't you?
No, well, however they play, we stay with them. But when they win, we're very proud of them.
Oh, mate, well, you get over there and celebrate with them. Thanks, Dick.
It's a proud old club, but you feel like it's a defining day in many ways, don't you? The president led from the front at the start of the day, and his players and coach backed him up to the hilt, didn't they?
And whether you like Carlton or whether you don't like Carlton, they are good for the competition.
But you played for Essendon, so I'm not going to ask you what you think. So that's it. The Blues over the Magpies. 111 to 88. A day to remember.